Okay, so let us start again. If this time pen stops, so we will be covering in our next class. Anyway, so we were talking about transfer function modeling, and in this, what is my first concern is that you should be able to answer why we are going for transfer function modeling, right? So first part is that again I will be telling it to you with an example. We are having a voltage source and a resistor, inductor, and a capacitor. Let us assume that current flowing across this loop is IT, and we want to measure the voltage across this capacitor. That means we want to see what is the voltage across the capacitor. So under the mathematical modeling, if we have seen, we could have written its loop equation. So it will be VIT will be equal to voltage drop across the resistance, that is RIT, plus L dit by dt plus 1 by C integration of IT dt. So this is the loop equation, and if you want to calculate the voltage across capacitor, so this will be V naught T will be equal to 1 by C integration of I T dt. This is equation number 1, and this is equation number 2. Now, if you require to calculate V naught T, you would have solved equation 1 and 2, and you would have calculated. But this will require some amount of effort. So, in order to avoid that, what we will do is we will convert these two equations into a frequency domain. By using Laplace transform. What we will be doing, we will be converting this time domain equation of equation 1 into, as you were saying, we will convert that into a frequency domain by Laplace transform or Laplace transform. Okay. So what is the motivation behind doing a transfer function, or what is the motivation behind converting this equation into a frequency domain? We will see what is the motivation. First motivation is to find the time response. Find time response. To find time response, we need to solve equation 1 and 2, which is equation 1 and 2, as you are saying. Now solving this equation 1 and 2 is quite hard. So what we will be doing, we will be transform equation 1 and 2 to S domain. S domain, why we are seeing it as S domain? Because we are using a Laplace transform. So we are converting this time domain to S domain. You can also call it as a frequency domain, which is called transfer function modeling. Transfer function modeling. So now that you know why we do a transfer, why we use a Laplace transfer function or a Laplace transform, is that solving equation 1 and 2, we want what we wanted. We wanted the voltage across a capacitor. We want what is the voltage across the capacitor at t1 is equal to 0 second, at t2 is equal to 1 second, at t3 is equal to 4 seconds. Let us just say this is just an example for example point of view. If you want V naught T for different time instances, you can do that. Again, you can do that, but it will be cumbersome, or it will be little bit you can say time taking. So what we will do is we will take the Laplace transform of equation 1 and 2, and we will convert equation 1 and 2 into the frequency domain, and then we can call it as a transfer function modeling. So by definition, if you want to go by definition, what is the definition of transfer function? So we will just transfer function. What is the definition? For an LTI system, for an LTI system, LTI system means linear time invariant. We have already seen what is linear system means, what is time invariant. So if a system is LTI system, that is linear time invariant system, the transfer function I'm writing as a TF is the ratio means in we will see ratio means something in numerator, and then denominator is the ratio of Laplace transform of output to the Laplace transform of the input. Considering initial condition to be 0, right? That means transfer function will be equal to Laplace transform of output. Output in our case was V naught t, as we have seen. What is our output? But whatever you want to measure, if you want to measure the voltage across the inductor, you can take VLT, right? So right now we are taking output across the capacitor, so our output is V naught t. So you can see Laplace transform of V naught t upon Laplace transform of VIT, considering initial condition to be 0. If I'm assuming that initial conditions are 0, that means the system was at rest. That means the system was at rest. That means there is no current flowing in this circuit. That means there is no current flowing in this circuit, and there was no charge present in this capacitor, right? That is the meaning of in the initial condition 0. Is it okay? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is okay.
So mathematically, G of S can be written as Y of S upon U of S, such that Y of S is equal to Laplace transform of output, that is Yt, and U of S is equal to Laplace transform of input, that is Ut. So if we have represented a transfer function by G of S, right? It is not required. You can take your own variable. You can call it X of S, Z of S, whatever you want. You can call it. But for making it uniform, right? In most of the standard books, you will find that transfer function is denoted by G of S. Usually, output is represented by Y of S. Usually input is represented by U of S. This is just a nomenclature. It is up to you. If you want to give some other name to output and input, you can give it, and you can also give different name to a transfer function. But just for simplicity and to make all the things uniform, what we have done is we have called a transfer function by G of S. Y of S is the output, and U of S is the input. Right? Now consider a system that is having a transfer function of G of S, having an input of U of S, and having an output of Y of S. Right? Let us consider this transfer function. And in input, that is U of S, we are giving impulse function. What we are providing? We are providing an impulse function, or you can say impulse signal, to the input. So what is the impulse signal Laplace transform? That is U of t. Let us suppose U of t is del t, then Laplace transform of U of t is equal to U of S is equal to, what is the Laplace transform of impulse? We have already seen that. Laplace transform of impulse is 1. We have seen this or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay, so if I want to calculate what is the transfer function is Y of S upon U of S, and since U of S is equal to 0, so we can call it as a Y of S. So G of S is equal to Y of S. That is, transfer function is equal to the Laplace transform of output for impulse input. If the input to a system or a plant is impulse, then transfer function, if for that, if you wanted to calculate the transfer function, you can directly take the Laplace transform of output, and that will be the transfer function, right? So that means the transfer function is the Laplace transform of impulse response of an LTI system with initial conditions are zero. So that is what it means. Again, those who have not understood. So G of S, that is transfer function, is written by output upon input by S upon US. US in this case is impulse function, and Laplace transform of impulse function is 1 that we have known. So G of S will be equal to Y of S upon 1. This will be simply equal to Y of S. So G of S is equal to Y of S for impulse input. If your input signal is impulse signal, then you can say transfer function will be equal to Laplace transform of output. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will be solving examples. If you are not getting, just keep patience. But this is quite simple. We are having a system called G of S. Y of S is the output. U of S is the input. We are providing, as I have told you, impulse function. Laplace transform of impulse is 1 that we have. This we have already seen. So we have put it in the formula that G of S is equal to Ys upon Us. So Us is 1, so G of S is equal to Y of S. So we can say transfer function is equal to output, Laplace transform of output function for impulse input. This is what it means. Next is we will see steps to find transfer function. What are the different steps which are involved in finding the transfer function? Step number 1, find the model equation. This you can find the model equation that we have already done in for our electrical case. This is our model equation. Equation number 1 and 2 are our model equation. This is our step number 1. Find the model equation. Step number 2, identify system input and output. You have to identify what are the system input and what is the system output. For this case, we know Vi is the input, and we want to calculate voltage across the capacitor. That is why V0 is the output. It is voltage across the capacitor. So second is identify system input and output. Third step, take Laplace transform of model equation considering initial condition to be 0. You have to take Laplace transform considering initial condition to be 0. Equation number 4, that is step number 4, find the ratio of output to input. You have to find the ratio of output to input. So these are the 4 steps which are involved. This is quite simple. Find the model equation, find the input and output variable, identify the system input and output, apply Laplace transform, then calculate output upon input. That will give you the transfer function. So for this case that we have just seen, again I will be drawing the circuit. That is Vi with a resistor, with an inductor, and with a capacitor. So this is resistance R, L, and C. Current flowing in this is IT. We want to measure the output voltage, that is voltage across capacitor. So I'm calling it as V out. So again, model equation will be Vi will be equal to voltage drop across resistance, that is RIT, plus voltage drop across inductor, that is L di by dt, plus voltage drop across capacitor, that is 1 by C integration of I dt. This is equation number 1. And equation number 2, that is output voltage will be equal to 1 by C integration of I dt. So we have find out model equation, that is equation number 1 and 2 are my model equation, right? Vi is my input, V0 is my output. Now what we want to take a Laplace transform of both of these equations. So if I take the Laplace transform of equation 1, so this will be equal to Vi of S will be equal to R in if you take the Laplace transform, if you convert time domain from, if you convert a signal from time domain to frequency domain, generally frequency domain is represented by a capital alphabet, that is I of S. You can, as you can see, L. What is the Laplace transform of Di? That is differentiation. What is the Laplace transform of differentiation? Suppose if I want to calculate Laplace transform of dx by dt, this we have already seen. So this will be equal to x s x s minus x0. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
But x naught is the initial condition, and we are assuming that initial conditions are 0. So we have assumed initial conditions are 0. So this will be equal to L S I of S plus, what is the Laplace transform of integration? What is the Laplace transform of integration? This we have already also seen, that is 1 by S, considering initial condition to be 0. So this will be equal to Is upon S. If you rewrite this equation in a better way, so this will be equal to Vis will be equal to Ris plus Slis plus 1 by Sc into I of S. This is our equation number 3. Now you have to take the Laplace transform of this. This will be equal to V naught of S will be equal to, again, 1 by C. What is the Laplace transform of integration? Again, 1 by S. And Laplace transform of I of S will be I of S, considering initial condition 0 to be 0. So again, you can write it as Sc upon I of S. This is equation number 4. Now transfer function. So transfer function was given by Laplace transform of output upon Laplace transform of input. So this will be equal to, what is our output? That is I of S upon Sc whole divided by, this is our input, that is Ris plus Slis plus 1 by Sc I of S. You can take I of S common and it will cancel out from numerator and denominator. This will be equal to 1 upon Sc upon, now I am taking 1 upon Sc as an LCM. In the denominator I am taking 1 upon Sc as my LCM, right? So this will be equal to SRC plus S square LC plus 1. Is it not? So, and this SC will cancel out. So we will be getting transfer function as 1 upon S square LC plus SRC plus 1. Now if you take LC common from the denominator, so this will be equal to 1 upon LC into 1 upon S square plus SRC into LC plus 1 by LC. So this will be transfer function equal to 1 upon LC S square plus this CC will cancel out, S R upon L plus 1 upon LC. So we have seen that we can find out that this is the transfer function of the system. And what was our system? This was our system. This you can write it as V naught of S upon Vi of S. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For now, our objective is just to find out the transfer function of a system. And what is the transfer function of a system? Again, I will tell you what is the transfer function of a system. Laplace transform of output divided by Laplace transform of input, considering initial condition to be 0. This is the formula, right? So this is what we have got. Now we will take one example, that is simple example. Let us consider a differential equation, that is d3y by dt cube plus 10 d square y by dt square minus 5 dy by dt plus y will be equal to 10 du by dt plus u. What you have to do, you have to find the transfer function of the system such that y of t is equal to output and u of t is your input. You have to find its transfer function. Have you got the question? What is the question? You have to calculate transfer function. Suppose this is an equation which is for any system. We are not focused upon what is right now, what is our system. We are just focusing on how to calculate the transfer function. Yt is our output, ut is our input. So transfer function, we have seen what is the, how can we find out the transfer function? It is Laplace transform of output upon Laplace transform of input. So Laplace, what is our output? Laplace transform of yt upon Laplace transform of ut. So this will be equal to y of s upon u of s. So ultimately, you have to find the ratio of y of s upon u of s. Is it okay? Is it okay or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we need to do is we need to take the Laplace transform of this equation. Now tell me what is the Laplace transform of d3y by dt cube. We have seen this. We have seen this or not? We have seen Laplace transform of differentiation or not? While we were discussing the Laplace transform.
Yes, sir. Laplace transform of differentiation आपने बताया.
Yes. So what is the Laplace transform of d3 by dt cube? It is s cube.
Sir, your voice is low.
Laplace transform d3y by dt cube is equal to s cube y of s. Now I am avoiding y of zero term. Why? Because initial conditions are 0 plus s square tan y of s minus 5s y of s plus y of s is equal to tan s u of s plus u of s. If you take y of s common, so this will be equal to s cube plus tan s square minus 5s plus 1 is equal to, take us common from this side, so this will be equal to 10s plus 1. Now what you want? You want y of s upon u of s, because y is your output and u is your input. So you want y of s upon u of s. So what you can do, you can bring u of s to this side and you can take whole of this function to this side. So y of s upon u of s will be equal to 10s plus 1 divided by s cube plus 10s square minus 5s plus 1. So this will be the transfer function of the equation that we have just seen. So this is our equation and we have calculated its transfer function. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now that we have calculated what is transfer function and how to calculate transfer function, we will see properties of transfer function. Some of the properties of transfer function. What are its properties? So property number 1, transfer function of system is independent of the magnitude, and nature of input. So whatever kind of input is there, whether it is bounded, whether it is unbounded, the transfer function of a system is independent. You can see it does not depend upon nature of the input, nature and magnitude of the input. Step number, that is second property. Using transfer function, response can be studied. Response means output. Response can be studied for various input to understand the nature of system. What does it mean? It means that if you're having a system, you're having a input port and you are also having an output port. So by using transfer function, you can provide varieties of input signal, right? Like we have already seen impulse, in unit step, ramp, parabolic. These are some of the signals that you can provide to systems and study the various output. For each of the input. Okay, so using transfer function, response can be studied. Response means output can be studied for various input to understand the nature of the system. Now, if you provide different kinds of input and you are getting different kinds of output, now by observing output, you can comment on the system. What is the nature of the system? Whether the system is stable, whether the system is unstable. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Sorry.
Please explain the
Yes.
second point again. I didn't get it.
Second point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, using transfer function, it is saying using transfer function, response can be studied for various input. That means if you are having a system, right? Here is your system. You can provide different kinds of input. If you provide different kinds of input, you will get different kinds of output. If you get different kinds of output, now by analyzing those different kinds of output, you will analyze what are those output. And after analyzing, you can comment on system, whether the system is stable or whether the system is unstable, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Equation number, sorry, property number 3. Transfer function does not provide any information concerning physical structure of system. That is two or more different system can have same transfer function. So what does this point property means? That given a transfer function, if a transfer function is given to you, like g of s we usually represent, like I am giving you a transfer function that is s upon s square plus 10s plus 1. I have given you this transfer function. Now looking at this transfer function, you cannot determine its physical structure, whether this system is mechanical system, whether this system is electrical system, or whether this system is any other system, right? Even if you can determine whether it is an electrical system, you cannot predict, or you cannot be very sure whether it is a parallel RLC, whether it is a series RLC, or what kind of connections are there in system. So just looking at the system, you cannot predict what is the physical structure of the system. So what does this mean? This means that one more thing, if you one or two or more different systems can have same transfer function. It means that two or more different systems can have same transfer function. Just to make this point, that is this last point, last statement to be clear, let us consider a mass spring damper system. We have already studied what is mass spring damper system, that is translational motion. Let us consider a transfer function of mass spring damper system to be 1 upon ms square plus bs plus k. Let us see, and let us consider an RLC network, that is electrical network. And for that, transfer function is equal to, we have just seen the transfer function, that is s square LC plus sRC plus 1. These are the two different physical structure. One is your translational motion, second one is your electrical network. Now I can assign mass is equal to damper is equal to spring. I can assign the value to be 1. Similarly, I can assign here R is equal to L is equal to C is equal to 1. I can assign the value to be 1. If I assign the value to be 1, it will become S square plus S plus 1. Similarly, this will also become S square plus S plus 1. Right? So you can see both of the transfer functions are same, but the structure are different, right? So the third property means it does not provide any physical information concerning the physical structure of the system, and two or more different system can have a same transfer function. This is property number 3. If you have any doubt, you can stop. So we will see general form of transfer function. General form. Let us consider g of s is given by y of s upon u of s will be equal to. Let us consider. I am writing a general equation. B naught s to the power m plus b1 s to the power m minus 1 plus b2 s to the power m minus 2 up to b m minus 1 s plus bm whole divided by a naught s to the power n plus a1 s to the power n minus 1 plus a2 s to the power n minus 2 up to a n minus 1 s plus a n. Let us consider this is the general or generalized representation where b naught, b1, b2, bm minus 1, a naught, a1, a2 are constant, and m and n can vary, right? M and n can vary. You can also arrange this in this format, that is k s minus z1, s minus z2 up to s minus zm whole divided by s minus p1, s minus p2, s minus pn. So here you can see now important of that is order of system. What is order of system? It is the largest power of denominator. What is the largest power of denominator? What is the largest power of denominator?
N.
N is the order of system, right? We will see more examples regarding the order of system. Let us continue from here. K is called as system gain. This K, which I have represented here, if you can arrange the transfer function in this format, then in pole and zero format, if you can arrange, then whatever factor left outside the bracket is called as system gain. System gain. K is called as system gain or gain factor Here Z1, Z2 up to Zm are called as zeros of system. P1, P2 up to Pn are called as poles of system. So I think we have already seen this, but again I'm telling you, n is the what is order of a system. If someone asks what is the order of the system, so it is the largest power of the denominator. In generalized case, we can see that largest power is n. So we have written here, I have written here n. K is equal to system gain. For calculating system gain, you have to arrange in a pole zero format. That is given in this format. It is pole zero format. So K is called system gain or gain factor. Z1, Z2 up to Zm are called as zeros of the system. P1, P2, Pn are called as poles of the system. One very important condition, that is n will always be greater than equal to m. N is the power of denominator and m is the power of numerator. You can see m is the power of numerator and n is the power of denominator. And I'm saying that n, regardless of all the things, n will always be greater than m. You cannot find a transfer function where m is greater than n. That is, power of numerator is greater than power of denominator. You cannot find that transfer function. Why you cannot find? Because that transfer function is not realizable. Not realizable. Why that is not realizable? Because if power of numerator is greater than power of denominator, then that system will become non-causal. We have already seen what is causal and non-causal system. If power of numerator become greater than power of denominator, then that system will become not causal, and we cannot realize that system. Physically, it cannot be realizable. Realizable means there is no such system present. If you consider an RLC network, mass spring damper system, or a torque spring system for rotational system, you will always find that when you calculate a transfer function, there the power of denominator will be greater than or equal to the power of numerator. Is it okay? These are the four properties related to transfer function. So poles and zeros, we have already seen what are poles and what are zeros. So we have already seen what are poles and zeros, but just for your reference, I will again tell you poles. This is again very important concept, poles. So it is root of denominator. Poles are the roots of denominator of the transfer function So how you will calculate poles? Values of s at which transfer function becomes unbounded. Unbounded means it will tend to infinity. For example, here, can anyone tell me what is one pole? Can anyone tell me what is the pole in this case? Anyone pole?
P1, P2,
P1. Yes, P1. If I put plus P1 in the denominator, you can see this term will become 0. If this term will become 0, all the terms are in multiplying term, so the whole transfer function will become infinite, right? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
How
sir.
you can find out poles? S tends to P of I. When S is tending to P of I, G of S becomes infinite. So this is the definition of poles. That is, at pole, your transfer function is infinite.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Now we will see zeros. It is the roots of the numerator. It is the roots of the numerator. Again, values of S at which transfer function becomes 0, or it vanishes or it becomes 0. So again, by looking at the generalized transfer function, can anyone tell me what is the zero location? Anyone zero location? Z. S is equal to 1. But S is equal to Z in this, so this becomes 0, and all the terms are in multiplying. You can see multiplier, all the terms are in multiplying. So transfer function will become 0. So I can say, what is by definition, there is limit
So I
S
can't
can
get it, sir.
G of S will be equal to 0. Yes, please ask.
So once again, will you repeat this zeros, roots of denominator?
Okay. If you again see here, this is our generalized transfer function. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what are poles? Poles are the, I'm saying poles are roots of denominator. This is in denominator, right? And can you tell me what is the pole present? Any one pole, that is S is equal to
P1.
P1. So if I put S is equal to P1, G of S will become what? If I put S is equal to P1, this term will become 0.
Yes.
And this is the whole thing. Other things are multiplication and division. If this is 0, this will become infinite.
Yes. Infinite.
Is it okay? So G of S is becoming infinite at pole. So you can see here what I'm rewriting. At S is when S tends to pi, that is for one pole location, my g of S is equal to
Infinite.
right. Similarly, if you want to calculate zeros, zeros are the roots of numerator. Zeros are the roots of numerator. So can you tell me any one zeros?
Z1.
Z1. So okay, if I put S is equal to Z1, this term will become 0. And all the other terms are in multiplication. So 0 multiplied by 0, 0 multiplied by anything will be 0.
0.
0 divided by anything will be
Okay.
0.
Got it.
So you can see my transfer function is becoming 0 at 0. Right? So what I can write when my S is tending to 0, my whole transfer function is becoming
0.
Now is it okay? We
Yes,
will see
sir.
an example.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. So we will see an example. Let us consider a transfer function given by 6s plus 12 whole divided by s to the power 3 plus 3s square plus 7s plus 5. Let us consider we are having this as our transfer function. So what we need to calculate here? We need to calculate system gain. First thing, we need to calculate zeros. Second, and lastly, we need to calculate poles. Right? So for calculating system gain, what we can do is we can put, that is k. If you want to calculate k, we can put limit s tends to 0, 6s plus 12 whole divided by s square, s cube plus 3s square plus 7s plus 5. You can directly put s is equal to 0. So if you put s is equal to 0,
12 by 5.
k will be equal to what? 12 by
5.
So this is my system gain, that is 12 by 5. Right?
Hmm.
Now we will calculate zeros. Zeros are what? Zeros are the roots of
Denominator.
numerator.
Wait, numerator. Sorry, sir.
Numerator. So 6s plus 12 will be equal to 0. S will be equal to minus 12 by 6.
6 minus
S
2.
will be equal to minus 2.
Minus 2.
Here are my zeros and S is equal to minus
Minus
2. Now we will calculate poles. Poles are
Poles.
what?
Roots of denominator.
Roots of denominator. So again, s cube plus 3s square plus 7s plus
Equal
5
to
0. Now calculate this root in your calculator.
Okay, sir.
All of you should have calculator, right? Because I will whatever I will say, I am having the solution with me, so that will not help. Okay, you have to calculate poles, and how many poles you will get? You will get 3 poles. So let me just write down poles. P1 is equal to, you will be getting -1. P2 you will be getting -1 plus 2j, and pole number 3 you will be getting -1 minus 2j. Right?
Okay, sir.
So what you can see here, that we are getting a complex conjugate. If you take the complex conjugate, you will get this. All of you know what is complex conjugate? Complex conjugate.
Yes, sir.
If you are having a plus b, jb, complex conjugate of a plus jb will be equal to a minus jb. So you can see here, poles, it is having a complex conjugate. So one important point, if you want, you can remember, poles and zeros, both poles and zeros are purely real. Either they can be purely real, like -2 is pure real, -1 is pure real, or appear appear in complex conjugate form, right? Either it can be purely real or it can be having complex conjugate form. You cannot find anywhere where the pole will be just -1 plus 2j. You cannot find any transformation which is having this kind of pole, right? Its complex conjugate pole will always be present. That is, if the poles are complex, then its complex conjugate poles will always be present, right? You cannot find this pole individually in any transformation. This will have to be there. So this is a thing that to remember.
Yes, sir.
So what we will do is we will stop here and we'll start the next topic from next class.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
What we have seen in today's class, I will just repeat. Okay. So we have started with the transfer function modeling, and first I have told you why we need a transfer function. Suppose if you want to calculate how the voltage across this capacitor is varying at different time instances, you can do that by solving this or differential equation, but it will be tougher or it will be complex, right? For that, what we will do is we will convert these two equations into a frequency domain by using Laplace transform. You can see here. Now, to find the time response, we need to solve equation 1 and 2. Transform equation 1 and 2 into S domain, which is called as transfer function. To make the calculation simpler, we use a transfer function model. What is why we require transfer function? To make the mathematics easy, we require transfer function. So, what is how we find a transfer function, or what is the transfer function for definition? For an LTI system, this is an important term. That is LTI system. The system should be linear and time invariant. For an LTI system, the transfer function is the Laplace transform of output to the Laplace transform of input, considering initial condition to be 0. You have to take initial condition to be 0. So by definition, you can see Laplace transform of output divided by Laplace transform of input, considering initial conditions to be 0. Mathematically, what we can denote transfer function by G of S, Y of S here output transfer function, output of Laplace transform of output, G of S is Laplace transform of input. Now we have taken an impulse function as our input. So if you take an impulse function, what we will get? Transfer function will be equal to Laplace transform of output. If for an impulse input, transfer function will be equal to the Laplace transform of output. This is just definition. How to find the transfer function? Steps to find the transfer function is find the model equation. First step, identify system input and output. Take the Laplace transform of model equation considering initial condition to be 0. Find the ratio of output to input. Whatever equation that is step number 2 is you have to find output by input. Now for this case, V0 and Vi, we have taken the Laplace transform as you can see. And finally, what we have done, we have taken Laplace transform of output, that is S by S square. You can see here, SC, and Laplace transform of input. Laplace transform of input is this equation. So what we have done is simply that, and then I have solved it further, taken IS common and cancelled, and then solved it further and further, and finally I am getting this transfer function, right? So the transfer function is again Laplace transform of output upon Laplace transform of input, considering initial condition to be 0. We have seen one example where yt is output, ut is input. We want to calculate its transfer function. So we are calculating its transfer function. We are taking its Laplace transform. So Laplace transform of power third order differentiation is s cube 3. Second order differentiation is s square. First order differentiation is simply s, and Laplace transform of y is y of s. Similarly, Laplace transform of first order differentiation is s multiplied, right? So you can calculate y by s. So this is our transfer function for this example. Properties of transfer function, this is very important. Transfer function of a system is independent. Independent, that means it does not depend upon the magnitude and nature of the input. You can provide any kind of input, right? And you can still get transfer function. Using transfer function, response can be studied for various input. And to calculate the nature of system, you can give various inputs. As you can see, we have provided various input to our system, and we have calculated various output according to each input, individual input. And by analyzing this output, we can predict the nature of the system, or we can say, or we can comment on the nature of the system, whether the system is stable or unstable. Third property is that transfer function does not provide any information regarding the physical structure of the system. That means two or more different systems can have same transfer function, right? What does this mean? That two different systems, as we can see here, this is a mechanical system and this is an electrical network, but both are having same transfer function. As you can see, they both are having same transfer function. So by looking just by looking at the transfer function, you cannot say this is a transfer function of which system, whether it is a mechanical or electrical or any sort. When we have considered the general form, this is just representing the general form. Here s to the power m is the highest order. Here s to the power n is the highest order. A naught, B naught are constant. Now I have arranged in a pole zero format. You can see I have arranged in a pole zero format. And after arranging, if we are getting some constant, we call that constant as a system gain. So K is a system gain, as you can see, or gain factor. Z1, Z2 are 0, P1, P2 are poles. This is very important, which states that the power of denominator will always be greater than power of numerator. Why? Because if power of numerator is greater than power of denominator, then system will become not realizable, or we can call it as a non-causal system. No physical system is there present which is having higher order in numerator than denominator. We have seen a small definition for poles and zeros that you can see later on also. We have seen one example how to calculate system gain, how to calculate poles, and how to calculate zeros. How to calculate system gain, we can directly put s is equal to 0. If you put s is equal to 0, we will be getting 12 by 5. We can calculate as poles, so this will be our 0 and this will be our poles. One more important thing that we have seen, that poles and zeros are either purely real, like in this case that is 2 is purely real, or it will always appear in complex conjugate form. You can see it will always appear in a complex conjugate form. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Just ask if anyone is having any.
No, sir.
So we will stop here.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can the equation consist of two variables?